There are three places in your sales process where deals stall, slow down, or die. Fix these three, and you're going to close faster and more often. And none of them have to do with those precious 45 minutes on a sales call. When a deal falls apart, most consultants will replay their sales calls and ask, maybe they didn't like the way I answered that. Maybe I should have asked this question. Or maybe they didn't like my pricing. And sometimes, yes, we fumble on a sales call for sure. But if something really doesn't go through, chances are the deal was already in trouble before you even got on a call with somebody. And here's what I mean. Closing is just not a single moment. It is not one conversation where you nail it or you don't. Think about a relationship you have. Your relationship isn't built on 45 minutes together. Closing is the result of everything that happens before, during, and after the call. You want your deals to move faster and you want them to close more often. So today I'm going to break down those three places where deals get won or lost. The first place deals stall is your messaging. And this happens far before your prospect ever talks to you. Your prospect is evaluating you alongside other options. And what you're going to want is that messaging to be so aligned and essentially mapped to the problems that they solve that they want to continue on that path towards hiring you. It's critical that you don't sound like every other consultant. You want people to look at your messaging and say, you know what? I think they're exactly the right person to help us. You don't want them to say, oh, I think this person might be able to help us. They're going to Google you. They're going to look at your website. They're going to be looking at all of the things. And so it is really critical that you understand that specificity sells. If your messaging is broad, if it's vague, if it's not specifically designed to attract and communicate with your ideal client, then that deal can get stalled or can basically die before you even met the person. If you're not sure the quality of your messaging, here's what I suggest. Take your LinkedIn profile or your website and give it to a business friend that will be honest with you and ask them, what do you think I do? And then you need to assess, is how they responded actually what you do? And if not, it gives you an opportunity to adapt. This is free. This is simple. This is a really excellent, easy way for you to make sure that the messaging you're putting out is calling in the right people. Otherwise, your deals are dying before they even start. Number two, your materials. What does that mean? It means once somebody sees your messaging and they think, oh, wow, I think this person can help me, it's really not enough. They might sort of believe that you can help them, but they may not trust yet. Like, are they willing to put down dollars and time to invest in you? Are they ready? And a lot of times they're not. They're also not ready for a sales call yet, which is why having some methodology about the work that you do can be extremely helpful and keep them on that path towards hiring you. So for example, it could be a 5-page guide to XYZ. It could be a webinar. It could be a longer form video explaining how you approach certain problems. It could be a case study that walks through the problem that your client had, how you addressed it, and so on. Because the idea is that just trying to communicate the value of your work in a 500-word social media post isn't enough. And a lot of times our website, as somewhat more generic than, let's say, crafting a guide on solving a very specific problem that a very specific industry has with somebody in a very specific role at a company. And so here's what's really going to matter for your closing speed. If you don't give them that, they might stall out and then get distracted by a competitor. So you want to use this opportunity of this deeper engagement piece of content as a way of giving them insight into what it's like to work with you. You're already explaining all of this other detail with them without them having to get on a sales call. And once they dive into that, they get a better sense of who you are and decide whether they really want to spend 6 months on a project with you. So here's something that you can test out. Think about the number one question that your clients ask you and just write a guide on it. You don't even have to have it behind a gated wall, meaning people don't even have to give you their email address if you don't have a newsletter. Just link it to a available place on your site. This is the number one missing piece most consultants have, and it's really where people are missing the biggest opportunity. You want to think about treating your prospects like they're already your client from the get-go, meaning from the messaging, from this PDF, this white paper, whatever you want to call it as an example. You want to give them what they need in order to make a confident decision to hire you. And if you're missing this piece, you're absolutely leaving a lot of deals on the table. It is really crucial that this get done because, again, with all the competition, and if somebody's spending time trying to compare you to a competitor and they have something that they can read that gives a greater sense of how they work and you don't, you're not even in the game, so to speak. Now, the third way to accelerate and close more deals is on your sales call, but not just that 45 minutes. We want to think about that sales call process as what happens before the call, what happens during the call, and what happens after. And there's some real best practices to make sure that you have the greatest likelihood to get them into being a client. What we're trying to do is remove all the friction. We're trying to remove all of the doubt. And we're, for example, telling them what should they know before the call, maybe giving them something to read, maybe giving them questions that they should answer before the call, prepared to talk about. Because once you get to the call, if you've gotten through phase 1 and phase 2 effectively, essentially how you communicate is going to really be the differentiator here. Because if they've already decided you can do the work and they trust you can do the work and they think you're credible, it's really a conversation where they're thinking, okay, do I want to spend the next year on a project with this person? And so you really want to optimize for that. And as I said, you want to start treating them like a client from the beginning, and especially on this call. Act as if they're already your client is the best advice, and it'll really move people through that process to making a decision to hire you. So here's an action you can take. Write down what you do before a call, what you do during a call, and what you do after a call. And you want to make sure you're not leaving questions unanswered on their side, making sure that you're already setting up the call to talk about the proposal. There are very specific best practices, and you want to accelerate and you want to remove all of the friction you can as much as possible. And just one more point about the proposal. What you put in the proposal is essentially your first deliverable. They may not be paying you yet, but you've got to start thinking, okay, what is this going to look like? And so if you've written a proposal that's so bloated that they can't understand, they're probably not going to hire you. Your proposal needs to look like your actual work product. You have so much opportunity in that final stage. That's not just the 45 minutes of internal pressure that you feel to, quote, close them. One of the ways to think about it is the standard of care that you're taking at all 3 stages. So if you want your deals to close faster, give them the information that they need in order to continue down the process and have the confidence that they want to hire you. These really represent 3 of the 4 parts of the sales system for independent consultants. So to see the full 4-part sales system, you can go to connectandco.co/masterclass, and it'll describe the entire 4-part process that you're going to need to have a healthy, happy sales process and really feel like you're getting clients predictably, and the good clients, the ones that you really want to work with. So just a quick recap, the 3 stages that you're going to need in order to move your deals faster and more often are: number 1, get your messaging on point. Ask a friend, a business friend, to look at your website and see what they say. Number 2, create that deeper engaging piece of content that they can learn more about you before getting on a sales call. And number 3, make sure you have a pre-call, call, and post-call process that really optimizes for making it easy and a pleasure to hire you. Good luck, and see you next time.